Andrew, while we are up here and waiting for other speakers to join, would you be able to give a short intro about yourself, what you do in the space, achievements, and stuff like that?
Yeah, of course. I'm Andrew Lubon. You'll notice the Pulsar account is here as well. I was the business development executive at Pulsar. We solve for discoverability across the Web3 ecosystem. We have our PFP launch upcoming and our token launch upcoming soon. But yeah, please go to www.pulsar.ai, create a profile, join our Discord, and you'll get up to date information, specifically the Pulsarian channel regarding our upcoming Pulsarian PFP launch.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you for the introduction. Uh, Secret, would you be able to unmute yourself and give a short intro about your project? All right. I think while we wait for other guests and other audience to join, I would like to give a short introduction about myself, about Layer 1X. My name is Sam, and today I'll be your host. I'm the community manager for Layer 1X. To start off the event, I would just like to say that we do have a lot of competitions and stuff like that running in our Layer 1X Discord server where you can participate and win Layer 1X tokens. So if you aren't in our server yet, make sure to join the server. The link will be in the description. And I just wanted to give a quick and huge shout out to co-host for making this event possible. Let's give the guests a minute or two. Andrew, if you don't mind, I guess now would be the time to kick off with the event with the questions and stuff like that. You can answer the questions while we wait for our other speakers to join. Would that be okay by you?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, for sure. All right. As far as the introduction is concerned, you are free to give a more in-depth explanation to our audience as to what the project is exactly about. What specific roles do you play? That would be awesome.
Yeah, so just to make it super clear, I was a professional athlete for 7 years. The NFT space as a COO, was an angel investor, and then came across Pulsar. I joined Maxine on Twitter. We're a fully decentralized team, but the vision that she laid out and the vision that got me excited was the pain point of discoverability across the entire Web3 ecosystem. So, everybody we've spoken to as a team, whether it be NFT marketplaces, artists, curators, etc., have struggled with this concept of a very large amount of NFTs in the space, and it's very difficult to navigate. So what Pulsar's created was an upstream searchable solution, very similar to Google. So our tagline is the Google for NFTs. What does that mean? It means if you're trying to find NFTs, you can search in Google using our AI searchable solution. It personalizes the search over time, gives you image to image search, and various features to give you an upstream searchable experience across the Web3 ecosystem. So where we think this space is headed is the majority of the internet's going to be rebuilt on Web3 primitives with NFTs as that core infrastructure layer. Our search engine is upstream of all that, allowing you to search the entire Web3 NFT primitive web and have that at your fingertips by using an easy keyword search. So, doing our part to kind of demystify a lot of the technical aspects of Web3, and putting all into a very easy to use interface that uses keyword search in a product that our users are familiar with. Just some initiatives that we're building that are very exciting, and what are some next steps for those who are listening. First, go to www.pulsar.ai to check out the website. From there, you can connect your wallet and please set up a profile and then join our Discord. Most notably, join the Discord of the Pulsarian page where you can get up to date information regarding our upcoming PFP launch. I'll just pause there.
All right. Uh, Thank you so much, Andrew, for giving that in-depth explanation. And I think people should definitely check out Pulsar.ai. It's definitely an interesting project. Next speakers, Cyberlet. I hope that I'm pronouncing that correct. Would you like to give a short introduction about your project, what you do?
Yeah, sure. Hello, everybody. Thank you guys again for allowing us to come up here to speak. Appreciate it. I'm Jeffrey Monis, co-founder of Cyberleak. A little bit about us. We are a massive social application with competitive features for gamers, embedded with AI anti-cheat technology and a biometric player verification system. We started this journey to stop the plague of cheating in online games, and we're creating a level playing field for all.
Oh yeah, I think as far as cheating is concerned, I think I've seen my fair share of cheating while playing COD and PUBG. For those that know, that know. All right, our next speaker, Vivek. Would you like to unmute yourself, give a short introduction about yourself, what you do?
Yeah, for sure. Thanks a lot again for having me here today. Hey everyone. My name is Vivek, founder CEO of Swing.xyz. We're building a crypto liquidity router for Web3 teams. What that is essentially is that we aggregate kind of liquidity across the entire ecosystem, across 30 plus blockchains, and we enable teams to build use cases like cross-chain swaps, cross-chain staking, cross-chain deposits. Let's say you want to buy an NFT on Polygon using USDC on Arbitrum or Ethereum or Cosmos or Solana. We make it super simple to make that kind of experience come to life. We do this in a one-click fashion so that you can move liquidity from one chain to another, and essentially participate in all the different protocols and NFT marketplaces and NFT launches on any chain essentially. And so, if you're a team that's looking for a way to onboard liquidity into your project from other chains, reach out to us. I think the typical thing here is that if you're building on Ethereum, usually liquidity is not an issue. There's a lot of uh, active buyers and sellers on the Ethereum space, but if you're launching an NFT on a different chain, Arbitrum or Polygon or any of these other chains, you typically want to attract liquidity from Ethereum to your project. And so that's kind of the things that we help with. We're kind of mapping out the entire space. I guess kind of like the Google Maps, not to take away from Alex Andrews' description, but kind of like the Google Maps of like liquidity. Essentially, you want to trade one token on one blockchain for another token on another blockchain, or swap one NFT on one blockchain to another NFT on another blockchain. These are the things that we can create. Great to be here.
Thank you so much, Vivek, for that introduction. I think it's nice to see that we have a very diverse group of projects around us. Some involved in NFTs, some involved in liquidity. And before we dwell into interoperability, I think we should start off with some questions regarding the digital identity in the Web3 landscape. So, if any of you could give us a quick overview of what digital decentralized identity is and its significance in today's digital landscape. Andrew, would you like to go first? And then we'll let other speakers speak, of course.
Yeah, I think maybe the easiest example is in digital worlds, whether it's gaming or different sites, different PFP projects. Essentially, your digital identity would be your PFP, your avatar, whether it's your actual image. It's what you port across various social networks, digital worlds, video games, etc. What's so promising about Web3 is it allows you to one, port in a meaningful way if all of these things are built on Web3 rails, and two, own the majority of your digital identity and brand. So, for example, on Twitter, we're all kind of building on Elon's world. He owns our content. He sends us money if we do well and are driving traffic to the site. But in a Web3 primitive, what it would potentially allow is you to own the entire stack. So you could own your email list, you could own all the infrastructure associated with your digital brand, which is encouraging, right? Because if you're spending as much time as we are on Twitter or on different social media sites, you should be able to own the majority of the time you're building there. Think of it like a business owner. You're building brand equity and you're building the entirety of the digital infrastructure. But what's exciting about Web3 is you could then port that across different ecosystems and encourage more people to contribute content and, by the way, own their content. So the result is individual and atomized users who are owning the majority of their content, contributing in a way that makes sense, and having the value accrue to those who are contributing and building the value across that stack.
Oh yeah, definitely. I think the whole idea of Web3 and decentralization is that we want to give the power back to the people. We don't want it to be in the hands of a centralized entity. I like what you said there, Andrew. And I think with Leo and X, we are sort of doing a very similar thing where we are trying to bring or sort of make a platform like Medium onto the blockchain itself, where 100% of the power is given to the authors, and therefore it opens a lot of options for monetization for the authors. Next, Sabalet, would you like to answer the question?
I really would like to toot Andrew for his answer. It's a really good answer. Great job. Kind of piggyback that answer too, add a little bit to it. Overall, your digital identity too ties into the games you're playing, to everything that you're doing online. Essentially, since in today's world you're connecting all your accounts and linking them all together and using this sign in, that sign in, for Google, for Apple. So essentially, everything is linked, and your digital identity is kind of like what you're doing on the internet. We're just making it more fun going into Web3 by giving it some pictures and making ownership more essentially easily available, comparable. Imagine if you could own a piece of the Google nodes from, you know, 2000 or 1990 before they started getting real big. But you couldn't. You couldn't run nodes or do any of that stuff then. But you can now in today's world. It's get to that point where you can own a piece of the highway per se that's going on. That's pretty cool, and it goes to your digital identity. So as this like new evolvation, I guess, like this evolution of identity comes out, we don't want to lose focus on going out into nature either. So let's make sure that at the same time we're going out and spending some times in those woods. Just saying.
Yeah, definitely. I think all of us sort of agrees with what Andrew said. Vivek, you're next.
Yeah, I think digital identity in the crypto space is very interesting, and you know, even though public addresses kind of define you as a person in the crypto space, I think Balaji Srinivasan, the ex Coinbase CTO, he put out a tweet the other day saying that the phone books in the future will just be a list of public addresses, right? There'll be no need for names or phone or actual digits, phone numbers. It'll just be straight up a public key that you interact with. And I think we're kind of seeing some social fi apps come up nowadays where the login is your wallet, and so that is kind of like your entryway into the space. I also kind of see the digital the digital identification space growing as well with technologies like ZK as well, ZK blockchains, where you can essentially reveal parts of your identity without actually giving up who you are. And so I think that's a very powerful technology as well, and one that I think many teams are looking at. I mean, ZK blockchains are still. I mean, there's a couple different networks like Scroll and Aztec and all these different players, but I think we're still yet to see mass adoption of that tech. Probably also because of backwards compatibility with working with existing systems that we have in place today with decentralized networks. And so, yeah, I certainly think we're going to see. I think if we think about where we might see digital ID adopted first, likely in the GameFi sector is the way I see it. I mean, that is the arena where people may have digital IDs being created for them without them even realizing. The general consensus I've heard is that gamers don't really care about crypto. They just want to play games. Sure, if they can earn some crypto without not having to do any work, they're up for it. I mean, who won't take free money? But I think this idea of some of these new blockchain based games kind of creating digital IDs or mapping the gamer to a public key address without the user even realizing it, they're just storing cryptocurrency in their gaming wallet, aka a public wallet. Maybe it's an EOA wallet. I think that reality is going to happen more and more. And so digital ID might be rolling out underneath our feet right now. I know Microsoft also has kind of a focus on digital ID, and they have kind of a whole service that they provide to their enterprise customers that want to use blockchain. And so, yeah, exciting times I think for the growth of digital IDs.
Oh yeah, definitely. And uh, I think while we move towards the bull market, what I'm really excited about is development of these gaming projects that are going to be, interacting with these social five projects. And the solution that these some of these social five projects are bringing is, letting the users control their data. What a lot of people don't know is that when you use Facebook or Instagram or Twitter, a lot of these platforms are collecting the data that you aren't even aware of. They do this so that you can be targeted with very specific ads, very tailored to you. And the other day, I was watching a documentary that said that these algorithms that collect your data know you well than any of your friends or family. So yeah, that's a scary thing, and that is what I think SocialFi is trying to solve, if I'm not mistaken. Now, let's move a bit towards interoperability. So, if you guys would like to explain it to our audience, what does interoperability mean within the context of decentralized digital identity, and why is it crucial for the success of such systems?
Yeah, for example, at Pulse.ai, we're interoperable across separate chains, meaning we're chain agnostic. PFPs from all different projects can be brought online and can be searchable. Different NFTs for different business use cases can be searchable and found online. So that's kind of just the cross-chain piece. The other piece with digital identity, it being interoperable, and to be candid, the space is not quite there yet. It's a far way away from there in terms of having interoperability, but what the promise is that you could port your digital identity across different social five platforms, different consumer facing businesses, different social pieces, what have you, right? It really is the unlock. Vivek said it, the capacity to connect your wallet is in effect connecting your identity, and owning that piece of the infrastructure is very valuable so that you can bring your wallet, connect it to various value chains in Web3, and own the data, own each piece of that. But being able to move fluidly just like as a person, when you walk from store to building, you're bringing yourself, you're bringing your experiences, you're owning all of that, and those experiences are accruing to you. It's the same thing with a digital identity when you connect a wallet versus just logging into a page.
That
Yeah,
was very well and in-depth explanation. Thank you, Andrew.
yeah. I mean, I can jump in here as well. And I have a few thoughts on interoperability. I mean, I think it depends on the content or the kind of viewpoint that we're talking about it from. But I'll start with kind of liquidity when I think about interoperability. I mean, when you think about these DeFi applications, I see a future where you know future end users that come to the crypto space, I don't think they're going to care or even realize that they might be earning yield from the Ethereum chain, the Arbitrum chain, the Cosmos ecosystem, the Solana ecosystem. I don't think they care to actually try to bridge and learn how to do these things. They just want things to work, and whether they're there to earn yield or they're participating in speculation of a token, they just want access to these assets. Period. And so, a world where all the bridging and all the things that happen under the hood to connect liquidity, the fragmented liquidity on these different chains, I think that's going to kind of be abstracted away altogether. Now, when it comes to NFTs, and I'm definitely not the expert here on NFTs, but I'd love to hear from the speakers here as well. a Bored Ape Yacht Club NFT on the Ethereum chain. It has a certain amount of value because it's on the Ethereum chain. It's the OG. It's the first one that was built. If we were to take that NFT and let's say transfer it to another chain, does this still have the same value if it's now the representation of the Bored Ape Yacht Club on Ethereum on Polygon now? And so I'd be curious to think about how multi-chain NFT experiences look like, and how you guys envision how the future of this kind of looks like as well. It's definitely an open question on my end.
So I'll add some thoughts here. So I believe the future is a thing called smart accounts. EIP 4337 initiative on Ethereum actually lays this out to make an infrastructure for this. This allows the user to essentially create an easy sign-in fashion through their email or phone process. When they do that, it ties into a blockchain account, like essentially Ethereum, Polygon. You can have all of these addresses. And then at the same time, some of these infrastructure tools allow you to port that wallet right into MetaMask or whatever wallet you do use. So some of the tools that are coming out allow interoperability already. They're pretty cool tools. We at CyberLead are using these tools. So interoperability is just kind of caked in the infrastructure of our platform. In the future, near future, we will have this live so you guys can actually test it out. Just onboard through an email or phone, and it ties a wallet to your account, and from there it becomes interoperable already. That would be liquidity, receiving rewards, whatever we're kind of doing. And sure, as more chains come live or want to work with us, we will have to build infrastructure to support that.
Yeah, I think definitely the future of crypto, I think, is definitely interoperable, because I think, as our founder says, a lot of these ecosystems a lot of these projects are very siloed. They sort of work together in their own cozy ecosystem. Whereas if we really want to move forward, or make something that's really exceptional, then it has to have a part of interoperability built into it. And I think, coming back to you, I think it was from a question from Vivek, where, let's say, a Bored Ape Yacht Club on Ethereum that is bridged to Matic chain, would it still retain its value? And of course, my view may differ from other speakers or our audience, but I think what Bored Ape Yacht Club has done is that it has created its own unique identity, own unique brand, where it doesn't matter what chain it sits on. I think the name itself, that is Board API Club, it gives something, it gives a feeling, it generates a feeling among individuals, where I think, no matter what chain is it on, it will continue to retain its value. Um, you guys are free to answer Vivek's question as well, and if not, then we'll move to other questions. All right. I think we should definitely move to other questions. So, speaking of challenges in our spaces, what are some current challenges or limitations that are associated with decentralized digital identity, especially in terms of interoperability between different projects or platforms? Would like to go first?
Can you repeat the question, please?
Yeah,
Yeah,
please.
for sure. For sure, yeah. We are talking about challenges. So, what are some of the current challenges or limitations that are associated with decentralized digital identity, especially in the terms of interoperability?
I think
Yeah.
maybe just the easiest one is just the fact that though the one, I think there's the interoperability of chains, right? So different platforms, different projects are building on different chains. That has a huge impact. The second piece is there are myriad solutions across Web3, right? So whether it's SocialFi, whether it's DeSci, etc., there are just different user interfaces of how you port across different marketplaces, different experiences, and how you maintain your digital identity. So let's say your wallet is your wallet. The concept of porting the identity is still kind of a promise of Web3 and not necessarily the reality. I think the UI and UX of a lot of different marketplaces are still trying to solve for this experience. But we're getting closer each day, but it's still something that we're in the early stages of.
Yeah, I think to add to that as well. I mean, I'm thinking about digital identity just not on one chain, but a multi-chain kind of experience as well. And um, I haven't kind of looked into it like deeply because I still think in crypto today, when you think about digital identity, essentially is your wallet. It's your public key address. It's kind of how people are transacting on chain today. But I'm curious to know if you guys have even come across solutions where I can take my identity. I guess things like ENS and these naming services are kind of also identities in some sense as well. But when we talk about digital identity, and a question again to the group, how do you guys see digital identity? I mean, cryptally, I'd be curious to know using the smart account system as well, if there's any sense of digital identity plays that you've seen, or how you guys are thinking about that as well.
So the big challenge right now overall is just the onboarding experience for everybody that's new. So you have somebody new, they got to sign up for MetaMask, got to remember 24 words, they got to do this, they're afraid about the context and narrative of what the news is telling them. This blogger, this guy got stolen from, friend has a bad experience. So they're just negative connotations right off the gate for most people. And now you're talking about gamers who really don't want to add extra steps to just something they bought already and they just want to play. So like the smart account or the better UI UX is a direction that you can go. Doesn't necessarily mean it's the answer. As of now, since it's all still new, it just sounds better because the grasses might be a little greener. But as of today, I believe, just my opinion, that like having access to sign a user up through their email or phone is going to be a lot easier to maintain the overall likelihood of keeping that customer happy. And let's just say that they lost their account and they've lost their 24 words. How do they recover their stuff? Oh well, in a smart account system, it would just go to your phone or your email. So you just be recovering it naturally, the way you're already used to doing on Web 2. That's going to make people happy. So what we need to do is continue to do that. We need to make the users happy and their experience better, and the challenges will go away. It just takes a lot of development and time, sure, but that's what we got to do. And yeah, that's my opinion.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, just to add to that as well. I mean, due to the irreversibility of the way that these transactions and these IDs work, if you lose your private key, you lost your identity essentially. With the way that things are kind of set up today, I think some of these multi-key computation systems where, I hold part of the key, the service holds part of the key, and then we also have a third part that maybe comes from our Google sign-in that also generates another part of the key. These kind of systems, I think, work. It's not fully decentralized, and I think that's the whole argument around digital identity as well. Who's holding access to my identity, or the keys that make up my identity? And so, I don't think we can kind of get around an experience where it's totally decentralized, because key recovery, like Cyberlead said, if you lose your key, you're kind of out of luck. There's nothing you can do. And so working with these systems that are kind of decentralized, semi decentralized, kind of centralized at the same time as well, but at least you have a recovery path. I've also seen services in the past where you can add your friends into this key recovery process. So you can have yourself and maybe your family members involved. And so if you ever lost your key, you can have somebody else help initiate that process to get your key back and effectively get your identity back if you're to lose that key that makes it up. So yeah, certainly very interesting for sure. I think a lot of UX problems to solve around digital identity, and I think we're just getting started. I mean, I know we say this all the time, but we're still so early in this space.
jumping in here simply just because I joined this discussion late. But I think this is a really interesting topic, given controlling your digital identity in the age of AI has changed the structure of the entire landscape, simply because when things are constantly shifting, when now anyone can create any automated software that integrates your proprietary data into the mix, it can definitely make things more challenging. With the data breaches, with obviously 60% of companies admitting that they look into social media as a method of vetting potential job candidates. So there's a lot of various ways to look at it. And I think right now, today's companies, especially those that are looking to onboard specifically in Web3, need to simplify it as much as possible, whether it be, having the integration be as minimal 3 clicks from beginning to end. Obviously, what we're seeing in the email space that has worked significantly is the use of single sign-on. And that's been awesome, but obviously Web3 has its own unique functionalities that are detrimental, but also sufficient because you want to obviously protect your wallet, your privacy, and so forth. So I'm actually writing an article on this right now, but I think it's really interesting to kind of just compare the Web 2 and Web 3 contrast, given, everyone's kind of figuring out how to control their digital footprint, given there's so much information online. And now even with like you walking outside or someone recording a TikTok video, you can essentially be doxxed if someone has like access to your eyes in a singular photo. So
I'm curious, Lena, what do you think is the the ideal that single sign-on type of experience for Web3?
Well, see, I think it has really yet to hit the mainstream markets. I think right now in the gaming sphere, what we're seeing is an interoperable focus on, let's just say, certain launch pads such as like Hyperplay and so forth, integrating games so you can just click into their gaming system, and then obviously you can play whatever game you want. But I think specifically for Web3, you obviously need to have some type of back-end encryption that can obviously support your identity and so forth, simply just because like I don't even know if there's like a YubiKey. I mean, there's YubiKey equivalent, which is obviously your cold wallet, but if you don't have access to that, then what do you do, right? So I think it's still yet to be uncovered, and I think that's a piece of the space that really has a lot of work to be done.
Lena, really thank you for that. And we'll circle back to this conversation in just a minute. For our speakers, Lena, can you give a small introduction about yourself, the role that you play in your project, and then, of course, we'll circle back to this conversation.
Yeah, sure. So obviously I'm Lena. I'm the founder of Zeitgeist Labs. We're a strategy consultant group based out of New York that specializes in helping Web3 brands, B2B services brands, professional services brands, and so forth. And I've really worked with some really cool companies that have entered the space, such as NFL Rivals, Game 7, Deadmau5's Pixelinks, and so forth. And I've been in the space for a while now. I'm currently co-leading Solana NYC Alliance along Alice Chen. We're building out an NYC presence. So if there's anyone in the audience that lives in New York, wants to attend more IRL events, hit me up.
Thank you so much, Lena. And circling back to our previous conversation, Vivek, I think you had something to add. Sorry to cut you off. Vivek, if you're speaking, you are muted.
Sorry, I was muted.
Yeah, no worries.
Could
No
you
worries.
say, sorry?
Sorry, what was that?
Could you repeat that one more time? Sorry, I missed that.
Oh yeah, no, I'm just saying that circling back to our previous conversation, I think after Lena spoke, you had something to add, if I'm not wrong.
Oh no. Yeah, I was just kind of ideating with Lena too on that point as well. I think digital identity and the perfect onboarding experience is still yet to be found. I mean, I think it's likely going to be like a developer first solution, the way that we get there. I look at like products like Third Web, And what they've done well is they've essentially, they're building for the Web2 market, and they've essentially built this wallet infrastructure that kind of makes it super simple. Where if you're buying something on Gap.com and you don't have crypto, I think their intention is that you can kind of pay with crypto or get onboarded into crypto in a super easy way. I think part of their system as well is also if you're an existing crypto user, you have a MetaMask wallet, you can kind of connect that to your Third Web wallet, and then if whenever you're shopping on places where Third Web is integrated, it's automatically it just works. And so I think that they're definitely tackling onboarding in one fashion, but that's more on the e-commerce space. I think the way that we do this right for the gaming space is yet to be found. And part of the issue I think in the gaming side as well is that we're kind of already seeing a sense of fragmentation in the gaming market. All these different gaming ecosystems, they all kind of want to build on their own chain. They all want to kind of have their own kind of onboarding experience. They want to control that experience as well, which I understand why. But I don't think I've seen yet, as Lena said as well, a single player that's been able to unify, digital ID onboarding in the Web3 space across multiple platforms. I think it's still kind of custom solutions that we're seeing today. I think maybe more intel or more insight into this stuff than I do, but yeah, I'm definitely watching the space closely and curious to see where it goes.
I'll jump
Yeah.
in real quick.
Yeah, for sure.
There are solutions. I just don't want to sit here and toot the solutions. So if you do want to reach out, just DM me, and I'll give you some solutions. The reality is this has pretty much been found. A lot of people don't have access to the knowledge. So once the knowledge is spread, more people will have access. But that's kind of what it is. But it's just not my place to shill those companies. Thanks.
Yeah, definitely I understand. So, circling back to our topic, I think I just had a random question over the top of my head, and I wanted your guys' opinion on that. Uh, so the whole idea of blockchain and interoperability is that there needs to be anonymity within the users. And we were talking about how if someone loses or how a gamer loses his let's say 12-word seed phrase or 24-word seed phrase, then all of his assets and all the game stuff related to the games is lost. And how in web 2 we can use our email or our phone to let's say reset the passwords and stuff like that. So what do you guys think would be an ideal solution for this sort of stuff? Let's say there's a game on a blockchain and a user forgot his seed phrase. What solution do you guys think would be perfect for this one?
It is using the same thing we're already doing. So what's not changed the tech stack very, very much. Sure, we're adding blockchain tech stack to things, but we're not like creating a new wheel here. We're just adding another software to the tech stack. So all we got to do is use the tools that are created. There is an initiative called EIP 4337. You can research that and find a lot of things that are cool going on in this initiative. It's called account abstraction. In this thing, essentially, you just use a phone number or an email, and you're able to recover your information if it's lost. You can also import that information and bring it to MetaMask and do whatever you want too at the same time. It's pretty cool. This is also a multi-chain wallet, which is pretty cool. So it does hook up to multiple wallets ecosystems. Pretty cool.
Yeah, definitely. And I think if I'm a gamer, remembering a 24-word seed phrase would be the last thing to do. Last thing to do while playing a game or while enjoying a game. What's your take, other guests, Vivek or Lena, Andrew?
Yeah, I think to Cyberlead's point, I think ERC 4337 is a promising kind of UX solution for a lot of these kind of these mundane kind of challenges with EOA wallets today. We're still, I think adoption of it is still picking up. There's certainly teams that have started integrating 4337. Even at Swing, myself, we've talked about it, but it's kind of a prioritization problem. Like we haven't had any customers yet that have explicitly asked for support for smart wallets just yet. Actually, aside from one, but and maybe that's because we're serving a different kind of set of demographic of customers. We're working with DEXs, lending protocols, NFT marketplaces, UOD aggregator protocols. We're not necessarily in the GameFi space, and I think that's where we're going to see 4337 and a lot of this wallet abstraction really kind of go down really on in terms of actual real adoption. I think if you lose your key, yeah, I don't really have a solution for that, to be honest. I think unless you're working with some sort of an account that has a recovery method, the reality is you lose that private key, you give that seed phrase to somebody, and it's the floodgates are open. It's how hackers kind of have a field day.
I'm going to go into story time simply because I was locked out of one of my wallets a few weeks ago, and it was a very traumatic experience. And I've been in the space since 2020, but I simply spent like 4 hours trying to figure out how I could transfer assets out because simply my cold wallet, which is a ledger, wasn't charging, and I only had like 30% on it at some point. So I was freaking out because obviously with cold wallets have a lot of value over time. And, for someone who's in the space for a long time, like, you have the patience to push through and get through it. But like for someone who's doesn't understand the deficiencies and technicalities of just having to obviously click the approval process for each individual asset, like it became really messy. And at that point, I realized like the space has so much work to do, specifically when even the hardware is deficient, and even on the software side of it, Ledger isn't technically, or in my experience, hasn't really been the best in terms of just like support and so forth. But I don't know about you guys.
Andrew, what's your take on that one?
Hi guys, this is AJ. Andrew had a technical difficulty, so he asked me to join instead. Sorry if my voice is a bit out. I just woke up. I'm in California and trying to catch up to you guys. Anyways, I mean, yeah, it's a challenge for everyone, right? It has been identified as a single point of failure within the crypto industry, and that itself is very difficult to overcome. Certainly, I don't know how much you guys know about what we do and what we have done, but we've certainly tried to find a good solution that provides the best experience to when it comes to recovering seed phrase. The good thing about recovering seed phrase is not something that you do all the time. It's just maybe a very like very few occasions, maybe hopefully not too like once a year or every other year that you need to do this. But we try to kind of figure out a way that when you need to, then you can, within a reasonable amount of time to be able to just go recover. But at least you know that your seed phrase is secure. You know that no one else can hack it or tamper with it or do anything with it that you don't want them to do. You want your privacy, obviously. You don't want them to know like what kind of assets you have in your wallet, and all that is we really kind of try to be very careful of that. Just kind of to let you know what we do and how we do it for those people who are not familiar with Zcred. Basically, we get the seed phrase, doesn't matter how long it is. We kind of create a set of QR codes out of them, and you need a threshold for recovery. So you can set it like a five-slice set, and you can set a threshold at 3. So any of the 3 out of 5 QR codes will gain you the QR codes, or we can set at 4. And I use that 4 because for myself, that's kind of what I did for my estate planning also. I've given one to my wife, and 2 to my kids, and 1 to my attorney. And I've told them, listen, if I pass away, you 4 get together and you can access all your what I have in digitally. And for that reason, I think it's just pretty cool. And if I need it back, I could get any of those four from either like my family members and be able to recover the seed phrase, and boom, I'm in. And that itself is for me, it feels like it satisfies all my needs. And lastly, because we put it on RV, even like if we go out of business, or recently we have integrated with Excel Pay Wallet. Even if like Excel Pay Wallet goes out of business, then the user is still okay. They can go to RV and be able to do a full recovery without any dependency on the providers.
I have a question in regards to the tech.
Sure.
So hypothetically, let's say something happens to your attorney, then what?
Again, the threshold is 4 out of 5. The attorney goes out, then I have one, my wife has one, and my kids have one. So that's all I
Got
need.
it.
Again, you can set it up in any way you want, up to 11 slices. You can do like 6 out of 11 if you want to, depending if you have a lot of crypto or it's a big corporation, or whatever you think your individual needs are.
That's awesome.
I think that's a very interesting solution that you guys are bringing to the Web3 ecosystem. And I guess I'm sort of conscious of everyone's time here, and I think we should definitely dive deep into our questions, and then we should hopefully wrap up this Twitter space. So, a question for all of the guest speakers here. We all know that the in decentralized landscape, collaboration is key. We all sort of work together and move together. So, how do you see projects collaborating to enhance interoperability and create a more robust digital identity ecosystem?
Yeah, I think that's a core tenet of what we're building at Pulsar. It's not only being chain agnostic, but allowing for interoperability. There's no doubt that there's the network effects accruing to specific blockchains, and that's very valuable and accounts for why people are so tribal. The rewards are so high. I think with bridging, ways of porting between different chains make a lot of sense. So if you're going to do a smaller transaction, perhaps Solana is a better decision. If you want to do something, I don't know, higher, there's other chains that are a better solution. But having the capacity to move across multi-chains, to run transactions across multi-chains, and have the capacity for the end user to have access to the chain that works best for the application and the use case that they need. I think that's something as an industry we can work towards to using. I think it's important. We get so tribal in this industry about which chain is better, etc. But the reality is it's the crypto Web3 industry is still tiny, and we're still taking on Web2 giants. We need to be more cooperative and more interoperable, and work more to allow more use cases to move fluidly from one another rather than competing internally.
Yeah, ditto on that one. I mean, I don't think we should be, Bitcoin maxis or ETH maxis or, Cosmos maxis. We should just be crypto maxis at the end of the day. And I think that unity is super important for us to grow as an industry. I think to answer your question as well around, kind of how we move forward around this, I think digital ID and being able to move across these different chains, they should be hand in hand. I don't think there should be any sense of having to establish different sets of IDs and different chains. One ID. Like I think the ENS kind of does this already, but I think the ability to carry IDs and have funds, because fundamentally, USDC on Ethereum is different from USDC on Arbitrum. I mean, different contracts, different actual tokens. The ability to kind of seamlessly move between these chains and carry your identity. And if I'm holding $10,000, it would be nice if in a world I can go to any chain and that money is just always available to me. And so we create that through Swing, through these liquidity routing solutions, where we kind of make it look seamless. Like we still handle the bridging and the swapping under the hood, because the reality is you can't duplicate money. If you have 10,000 Ethereum, you only have 10,000, period. But I think solutions that focus on kind of creating a more holistic approach to this could be a winning play.
Cyberlet, Lena, you guys have anything to add?
Something that we're more and more seeing in the Web2 marketing space is the new collaboration tactic of co-creation. Simply, and for those that don't know, what that means is obviously with digital assets on the rise across various video games and so forth, game launch pads and various game designers are now working to figure out how they can use those digital assets, whether it be transferable across various game structures through, like, let's say Fortnite or Roblox and so forth. And so I think in the Web3 world, bringing it back home, I think that obviously, to Vivek's point, it is still so it's a massive chasm of tribalism and so forth. And I think that we have to obviously come together and be unified across the board. But at the end of the day, it's really about leadership from the top down. And it's clear as day that, like, various leaders, including Natalie and Vitalik, are very pro and want to, like, work together. But it's obviously the consumers at the bottom because aren't simply just because they are competitive as humans are. So I don't know. I do think there needs to be some type of council from the top down that kind of brings it all together, because at the end of the day, it's going to only be, the architect of our own demise. So
Yeah.
So to add to this too, collaboration is always happening. It's happening now. There's things going on now. People are collaborating. There's big things: Microsoft, IBM, Coca-Cola. Everybody's in Web3 right now. So at the end of the day, like, it's already happening. It's just a matter of, like Lena said, the top-down effect, getting people from the top actually caring about the things that are going on at the bottom. And a lot of that is misunderstood because the tech is new. And everybody thinks that this evolution of the internet, though it's an evolution and it is new, when you think back to the internet in 1990, it was not the World Wide Web. It was, only certain countries had access. Only certain people had access to the internet, is the point I'm trying to make. And it's the same thing kind of going on right now with blockchain, where there's got to be protocols and infrastructure set up for a bunch of things. And we're waiting for that to kind of catch up to where the consumers and people are. I think the stats are like 3% of the world is using cryptocurrency. So we're very early. So collaboration is can continue to go forward. It just needs to be done in a way that entices everybody. As it's going forward today, a lot of it's not really collaboration. It's just like news. It's like a Medium post until the tech is done. So going forward, we want to see more of, like, the collaborations actually that are announced actually doing stuff. That'd be great. And let's start there, and that will bring trust to the users, and let's bring the users the best experience, and let's solve their problems, because essentially they're the ones going to be using it. I think the rest will follow.
Yeah, for sure. And I think what you just said reminds me of a quote that I read a long time ago, and it goes like this: if you want to go fast, walk alone. If you want to go far, walk together. So I think that's the approach that every Web3 project should take. Um, of course, there will be competition. It is business. Everyone's here to make money. But if Web3 projects want to move forward, they really want to make a difference within the world, then collaboration between each other is the key. Ladies and gentlemen, I think we are approaching the 1 hour mark, and we should start off with closing statements. And I would like to tell our audience that while we take closing statements from our guest speakers, I would like to invite you all to use the comment section to post any sort of questions or suggestions you have. We'll take the questions after we have taken the closing statements. So, Andrew, starting with you, any closing statements, call to actions, or any other stuff for our audience?
Yeah, I think digital identity is a crucial unlock for the Web3 ecosystem. So excited to see that made manifest. It's exciting to see all these other solutions in the space. For Pulsar.ai, I encourage everyone to go to www.pulsar.ai, connect your wallet, create a profile, join the Discord, specifically in our Discord, the Pulsarian channel. We have our upcoming PFP launch, which will allow you to have access to the site. We'll have different utility and different entitlements, and we'll give you different rewards as we launch out our token and our port system. So we've been working very hard at Pulsar to build our community, to launch the product, and now our PFP project and token. So quite an exciting time, and I hope to see all of you guys there.
Cyberlet, Vivek, Lena, who's going to go next?
Sure, Gerald.
Sure.
Oh,
Go for it. Go for it.
cool. Okay, so things that are coming up for us. Cyberly LLM. There's some edge computing stuff with our application coming out. There's some tournaments going to be ran. So our tournament application within our app is going to be live at cyberelite.net. You kind of like toy around with it right now, but essentially we'll be running some community tournaments. And then as we finish things, start releasing more, but we're going to start there. And that's like community tournaments, and there'll be some door prizes, etc. as we go through that. And kind of cool. You can go look at cyberelite.net now. It's live alpha. And we're just like building in front of everybody because why not?
Yeah. Thanks for having me here today as well. It's been great to connect with everyone here. Just as a recap, founder CEO of Swing, we're a crypto liquidity routing service. We help teams onboard liquidity from anywhere, any token on any chain, on any protocol. So if you're building a product and a DeFi product, a crypto product, and you're having trouble bridging liquidity over to your protocol, let's get in touch. Happy to connect. You can feel free to DM me or follow us on Twitter at swing_XYZ or my personal tag at Vivek V. Thanks again, Layer One team for putting this together.
Hey guys, this is AJ Ismailzadeh again, and I'm a founder of Zigo.io. We just again launched our QR codes onto Excel Pay. They call it and we also calling it QR slices, that you can actually go out there and use the wallet for the time being. For a limited time, they are providing a 3 slice set for free. It gives everybody an opportunity to just go and play around with it and see how the system works. Thank you for hosting this, Layer One. I enjoyed the conversation very much and looking forward to the next one.
Yeah, thanks so much for hosting such a great talk. Sorry I could only join the second half, but for those that joined late, obviously I'm Lena, I'm the founder of Zeitgeist Labs. Again, we work with Web3 companies looking to approach a space, or those that are looking to build and grow from 1 to 100. So feel free to message me if you want. But yeah, thank you so much for your time, and looking forward to the next space hosted by co-hosts.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for jumping on to the Twitter space. Thank you, our speakers. Thank you, audience. And if I could please see some purple hearts from all of you guys, that would be very awesome. And I think closing statements from me as well. We do have a couple of these Twitter spaces running each week, so make sure you check our profile. We do have lots of competitions and campaigns going on within Layer 1x Discord. So if you would like to win some Layer 1x tokens, make sure to jump into our Discord. The link will be in the bio. Thank you, everyone. See you all in the next episode of XTalks. Bye bye.